Hello and welcome back to another chess game. In this video I'm going to cover the last game of the Clutch Chess online tournament. In this game Magnus Carlsen is with the white pieces and he has to win the Clutch Chess tournament. His opponent is Fabiano Caruana. So without further ado, let's directly go into the game because it was very exciting and interesting. So Carlsen played 1c4, which he actually did many times before in this tournament against Caruana, and he had quite some good openings and quite some advantage out of the opening. So the Caruana plays e5, and they are actually going to repeat the opening of their very first game. So this is the 12th game, and the very first game will going to appear on the board up to a certain point. So now Carlsen plays knight c3, black plays knight f6, white plays g3, bishop b4, and Carlsen plays e4. So this is what he has already done in game 1, and actually this is a similar style and idea that he has done, Carlsen did in just the previous round with the black pieces. I also have a video about that, so you can check that one out as well. So now Caruana follows their games from the first round. Bishop takes c3, b takes c3, castle, and f3. Carlsen plays f3. And in their first round game, Caruana played c6, and Carlsen replied with the very surprising king f2 move. That game is also very interesting, so I suggest that if you want, you can check it out as well. But in this game, after f3, Caruana played b5, and he said in the press conference or interview that he actually prepared this move, but it was very superficial. That all he knew about this, that b5 is a good move, but then the line actually continues. So Caruana blitz out b5, and Carlsen immediately replied with d4, and it seemed like that Caruana was already out of book. They don't know how to continue. But he had to make a move, so he took on d4, c takes d4, b takes c4, and you can see that white is going to have a huge center. So e5, knight to d5, and bishop takes c4. So now the knight is hanging. Black decides to play bishop b7, and Carlsen plays knight h3. So people usually don't like putting their knights on the side of the board like h3 because it covers very few squares. However, this knight on h3 actually does a lot of stuff. So it prepares a bishop g5 for later on. Also, the knight can jump to g5. And if the black knight goes away from d5, this pawn can go to f4 as well. And most likely white will also push the pawns in the king side, so the knight is just very well placed for this. Black plays d6 in the game, and castles, knight d7, so black tries to develop, and rook e1 protects the e5 pawn. Caruana takes on e5, and pawn takes back. And this is let's make one more move, knight b6 and bishop b3, and this should be sort of the position when Caruana must have realized that this opening didn't really go the way he wanted this, and white is actually not just having a very nice position, but it's very easily playable, and actually the problem is going to be the black king. So white has this majority on the king side, so his plan is at some point to just push f4, f5, develop the light square bishop somewhere, and just go against mating the black king. And also white has the bishop where the position is open. White has the better pawn structure. These pawns are could be potentially weak at some point. So well, this is a huge opening advantage for Magnus, for the white pieces. When Caruana has to make a move, he plays queen e7, and now Carlsen. So he has to win, and even though he lost in the previous game, he now plays the way the world champion should play a game like this, and he pushes e6. Yeah, so the idea to push black even further down. So if black plays something like f6, then this e6 pawn is going to be a very strong pawn controlling many squares, restricting the queen and everything. So well, this position is actually quite bad, but it's still better than what Fabi did, because Caruana decided to just take on e6. However, after knight g5, so the knight joins the game. After knight g5, his position is very close to be just already lost, actually. He has, well, barely any way to protect this pawn, and if the e6 pawn falls, then the black position is just going to collapse immediately. So probably what he could have done is try to develop his bishop back and defend it from c8, but then it just looks really very bad. However, he decided to play rook f6 because he very likely blundered the tactical motive that Carlsen prepared for him. So in this position, you can already stop the video and try to figure out how Carlsen can actually reach a very, very huge advantage. So actually the problem in this position is that black is not particularly well coordinated, actually very badly coordinated, and just one simple short move, queen c2, gives a sort of unsolvable problem for black. So there is the very obvious threat of queen takes h7, and actually there's not much black can do about this. So the two moves that comes to mind is either g6 or rook g6. If black plays g6, then white just develops the bishop to b2, and these bishops are just killing black. Yeah, so black would very likely soon just lose a lot of material. However, the whole point of the combination, or this queen c2 move, is that after rook g6, which looks to protect black, because now the pawn is actually not hanging, the queen cannot just jump immediately the rook, and also the e6 pawn is protected for the time being. However, the problem is that this rook is just overloaded, so it has two tasks: protecting this e6 pawn and protecting the h7 pawn. And of course Carlsen immediately saw that there is rook takes e6, that just essentially ends the game. The problem is that black cannot take it with the rook, because then queen takes h7, king f8, king takes h8 is just made immediately. Otherwise, yeah, black just lost the e6 pawn, which was, as I mentioned before, is sort of kind of an anchor, and now it's just all over. So yeah, I mean, Caruana couldn't really figure out anything better than just sacrificing his queen, but this is not sufficient compensation. So I mean, I guess if this were a normal game like classical time control with not that much on the line, black would have just already resigned. I mean, this is totally hopeless. But he still tried to fight on a little bit, and well, let's see how it goes. So bishop b2, rook e8, now bishop d4 to control the e4 square as well, king h8, and queen f5. Now the queen enters and goes closer to the black king, and Fabi can do absolutely nothing. Bishop c8. So now just to watch out that some sort of discovery with rook e1 check would take the queen, but of course Carlsen is the world champion. He doesn't blunder things like this, especially in a game that is worth, well, $50,000 is the first prize, and additionally winning this game, or the winner of this game, gets an additional $13,000, so he's not going to just blunder away so much money. In this position, Caruana played c5, which white just took, rook e5, queen f7, and bishop e3. Carlsen saw that the threats that black has are not dangerous. So after bishop f8, he is threatening mate, and this type of mate is actually not possible to defend against. Well, Caruana, sorry, still hasn't resigned. Played the rook e1 check, rook takes e1, king f2, rook f1. The king can just march away. King e2, knight c3, and king d3. And at this point, Caruana had enough of the game and just resigned. And this is actually the moment when Caruana resigned in the game. Then Carlsen did this shush move. Well, he's kind of a big basketball fan, and basketball players sometimes do that. But it also shows that how happy he was that he, even though he didn't play his best chess, probably he still won this quite prestigious tournament, I would say. Yeah, so this sums up the finals of this Clutch Chess tournament. I'm still planning to make a few videos about earlier interesting games of this tournament, so you can check them out some days later. But yeah, there's nothing else left. See you in the next video.